Your happiness and effectiveness in life are directly tied to your skill and your level of discipline.
Welcome to the Evolve Podcast. Evolve your body, evolve your mind, evolve your soul, and evolve your tribe. And now it's time to disrupt.
Welcome back to the Evolve Podcast, where evolved men and women come to disrupt, connect, and get inspired. We're cultivating a strong, lean body, an educated mind, and an evolved, purpose-driven heart are the status symbol of choice. I am your host, Steve Cutler, and today I'm excited to talk to you about the power of discipline and skill development. But before we get started, I want to thank you for listening to the Evolve Podcast. The Evolve Podcast is part of our passion to provide no-cost-to-consumer content that will help you disrupt your life and evolve into your highest self. At the Evolve Podcast and community, we continue to grow, and I want to make sure that people can find us to disrupt their lives and evolve just like you. So if you haven't yet, can you do me a favor and give me a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? The ratings and reviews help us to grow, achieve our mission of helping millions of people evolve into the highest versions of themselves. And now, on to the show. Discipline. What is it? Why is it important to live a healthy, happy, evolved life? Why is skill development so important to the evolved life? You see, evolved men and women are both disciplined and they constantly focus on skill development. But let's start with discipline. Discipline is about making tough choices and doing what needs to be done regardless of how we feel in the moment. It's about taking ownership of our actions and embracing the discomfort that comes from growth. I love the quote from Jocko Willink when he says, discipline equals freedom. When we have the discipline to stick to our goals and push through the obstacles, we create the freedom to achieve greatness. If you haven't been living under a rock, you know or have heard of David Goggins. David was has credited discipline for saving his life. It allowed him to transform from an overweight, undisciplined individual to a Navy SEAL and an ultra-endurance athlete, and a man who has now written 2 best-selling books. Discipline isn't about just physical toughness, though. It's about developing the mental resilience. When we push beyond our limits, we tap into an inner strength that oftentimes we didn't even know was possible. It's in those moments that we truly evolve and discover our true potential. Before we go further, I want to bring in some wisdom, though, from what I believe is a beautiful philosophy, and that's the Stoic philosophy, which really emphasizes that discipline and the importance of skill development. See, Stoics believed that discipline was essential to a virtuous life. One of the central teachings was that focus on what is within our control and accepting the rest of what is outside of our locus of control with equanimity. Stoics understand that discipline is a choice we make every single day. Stoics also recognize that external circumstances may be beyond our control, but our response to them is not. By cultivating discipline daily, we can maintain our composure, focus on our goals, and continue growing no matter the circumstances. When it comes to skill development, the Stoics understood that happiness is directly tied to our ability to navigate life's challenges. In fact, Marcus Aurelius, renowned Stoic philosopher, once said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. This implies that by honing our skills and developing a resilient mindset, we can find happiness in every face of adversity. Skill development and discipline are interconnected. By continuously pushing ourselves, embracing discomfort, and developing new skills, we expand our capacity for happiness and fulfillment. Think about it like this. If I want more happiness in my relationships, what do I need to do? Well, I can gain more happiness by honing the skills that lead to long-term relationships. As I learn how to resolve conflict, create ongoing connection, and provide powerful and productive feedback, my skills lead to a happier and more rewarding relationship. If I want a better body, developing the skill and discipline of doing daily movement create the vitality for my life. Becoming disciplined in your work, honing your skills to make money brings greater wealth. Discipline and skill development are the bridge between where you're currently at and where you want to be, which typically is that next state, that next point of happiness. So, as you know, we don't want to just talk about a concept, but we want to give you practical tools for evolving. So here's 5 simple steps. And remember, when I say simple, I don't mean easy, but they are simple. Here are 5 simple steps that you can take to develop more discipline and secure greater skill and thus greater happiness in life. Step number 1, ask yourself, what do you want to look like? How do you want to physically show up for life? And what level of energy and vitality do you want to have 10 years from now? You see, there are 2 powerful keys to this tip. First, including the aesthetic, i.e., how you want to look, and how you present yourself to the world, what energy you bring, and what life you're creating encompasses a more holistic view of your body and the power that's within you to live the way that you want to live. Second, taking the time horizon and pushing it out to the 10-year mark means that you now know that you will have to have long-term discipline, skill development, and a heavy plan to achieve what you want. There's no shortcuts, just discipline and skill. So again, step 1, ask yourself, what do you want to look like? How do you want to physically show up for life? And what level of energy do you want 10 years from now? There are no shortcuts to a lean, fit, beautiful, moving body. There are no shortcuts to great energy. You've got to build it. And if you want to keep it for the long run, there's no shortcuts. It just takes discipline, it takes skill, and it takes time. Look out 10 years from now, reverse engineer, and let's get going. Step number 2, control the variables. You see, in math, it's difficult to solve a problem with more and more unknown variables. The more control you have over the variables, the better you'll be at solving problems. Challenges in life show up regularly, but when we learn to control the variables we have 100% control of, we're able to solve life's problems far easier. Choose to get up at the same time every day. Choose to be consistent with your food intake. Choose to be consistent with your mental diet. Choose to be consistent with your daily movement. When you have control over these variables, you can control your skill sets and expand in a way where you have greater power to navigate the challenges that come your way. Step 2, control the variables. Step 3, if you are not lean and strong, get there first. Author Sterling Sill said that a healthy body is the dwelling place best suited for a clear mind, a pure heart, and an enthusiastic spirit. Discipline becomes easier when you are strong, lean, and fit. Developing the skills necessary to build a strong, lean body have crossover to every area of life. If you are not strong, lean, fit, start by committing to the next 16 weeks to getting there. Discipline is easier when your body is strong. You have great mobility and you are lean. I can't tell you the number of times that clients have come to me, whether it's an executive coaching client that I'm working with or a fitness client that's looking to make a transformation, somebody that wants to lose weight, and they tell me that life is great and they're on point, and yet they are not feeling well. They've been lying to themselves. They've been telling themselves that they have great energy and that they're at optimal levels until we get going and they realize how broken their life is. I'm here to tell you, if you are overweight, you are not lean, and you are not strong, you need to develop the body that shows discipline, because developing the body that has and shows discipline will develop your mind and will help you get developed in every other area. So step 3, if you are not lean and strong, get there first. Step 4, Consume content carefully. There are two ways to consume content that I believe are very effective, and this is how I personally do it. One, read, listen to books, podcasts, or watch interviews. This type of consumption I call gathering. When you're gathering, you're picking up knowledge from multiple sources. Gathering makes you more of a polymath, someone who knows something about several subjects. Polymaths are more likely to be more disciplined in the long run because their knowledge gives them perspective and multiple frames of reference. They don't get tossed around when a new idea comes up. They have many points to triangulate that new thing, and they are much more disciplined. When is the last time that you saw an extremely wealthy, successful, lean, fit person just have no discipline whatsoever? It doesn't happen. You see polymaths, people who gather information, people who are constantly learning and constantly consuming the content appropriately. They don't get bounced around with a lack of discipline. Second, specifically practice what you learn as it relates to your goal. Now, I used to read a lot of books. I used to read a lot of books because I felt like that was going to help me. And that was really the end of it. And I'd feel better when I would read those books. And then as soon as I would finish the book, I'd feel horrible because I was done with the book. What I did is I shifted from just reading books, gathering information, and going through my point of gathering. And I came into the second tip, which is specifically practice what you learn as it relates to your goal. So let me give you an example of how you can apply the two types of consumption based on my own experience. Now, right now, I listen to audiobooks, I listen to podcasts, I watch informational videos on YouTube, I read books, I read papers, I pick up magazines, I read wherever I can, whatever I can. When I do so, I just listen, I watch, I observe. I do it with curiosity. Rarely do I jump on the horse and ride with where the speaker or the author is trying to take me. Now, I do, however, take notes on my ideas, maybe something that I'm going to come back to. And in addition to consuming that mass content, I specifically will have a goal that I'm working towards. For instance, at the time of this recording, I am working on improving my overall performance mindset. And so improving my performance mindset has led me to Lewis Hamilton's masterclass on mindset. You see, Lewis holds the record for the most wins in Formula One racing and is known for his impressive mindset. Like all other goal-focused learning, I'm going slow. I think about what he's teaching. I meditate on it. I put the concepts into practice. When I'm doing this, my goal is not just to acquire knowledge, but it's to develop the skills that are related to my craft, related to my goal, so that I can develop a winning mindset in all areas of life. So remember, step 4, consume content carefully. If you're gathering, gather, make some notes of things that you might want to come back to. And then second, specifically apply the practice of working towards skill development. Now, our final step, step number 5, is to be militant about your sleep. I have never met anyone who is successful in any area of life long term who didn't become a master of sleep. Sleep is the drug of choice for top performers in every area. I work with top athletes and executives in my coaching and consulting services. And when I notice a drop in performance, the first thing I go to is sleep. Invariably, when performance is suffering, it's because the athlete, the executive, the top performer has let their sleep habits slip. Discipline equals freedom. Without a disciplined sleep schedule, you will not be able to have the freedom to develop the skill and lead a long-term happy life. So here are the 5 simple tips you can take to develop a more disciplined life and secure greater skill. Step 1, remember, ask yourself, what do you want to look like? How do you want to physically show up for life? And what level of energy and vitality do you want 10 years from now? Step 2, control the variables. Step 3, if you are not lean and strong, get there first. Step 4, consume content carefully. And finally, step 5, be militant about your sleep. The pursuit of skill mastery requires discipline, and as we become more skilled in various aspects of our life, we gain confidence, purpose, and a sense of accomplishment. It's through disciplined execution that we unlock our true potential and create a life worth living. Remember, your happiness and effectiveness in life are directly tied to your skill and level of discipline. And on that note, folks, it is time for us to wrap up another episode of the Evolve Podcast. I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us for another episode of the Evolve Podcast. I am Steve Cutler, reminding you that it takes time and consistency to evolve, but first, you have to disrupt. And now it's time for you to get out there and evolve.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Evolve Podcast. Follow us on your favorite podcast app, and if you haven't done so, please give us a rating. As an independent podcast, it really helps us get more reach. This podcast is part of our mission to help millions of people evolve into the best versions of themselves. Please check out our coaching services at evolve-cast.com or pick up some of our Evolve merch. Until next time, keep evolving.